Og nå starter jeg også selve recordingen, bare slik at det klart, sånn at den mulig å distribuere for ettertid. Så Techstep som sådan et selskap bestående av rett i overkant av 210 personer. Vi leverer tjenester til 4000 kunder i Norden, og vi har en årlig omsetning på rett i overkant av 1,1 milliard, så vi har vært i markedet ganske lenge. Kanskje litt ukjent for dere i forhold til navnet som sådan. Hva vi leverer egentlig basert på 4 hjørnesteiner. Mobile enheter, som dere har kjent oss fra på over mange år, softwareløsninger, supporttjenester og selve services, altså tjenesteoffringen, muligheten for å kunne kjøpe enhetene fra oss, eller kjøpe alt som en tjeneste. Zoom et meget godt eksempel på software og applikasjoner som vi trenger for å få til konnektivitet og for å fremme det digitale liv, og gjerne også det digitale arbeidslivet. Vi kombinerer ofte kjent for å jobbe mye med sikkerhet rundt mobile plattformer. Vi jobber også mye rundt kostnadsfordelinger og det som går på verdimanagement, altså asset management. Og vi har også et ganske stort knippe av konsulenter i det nordiske markedet, faktisk i overkant av 40 personer i dag, som jobber med alt fra teknikk til modenhetsanalyser for å kunne tilby det riktige mobilitetsproduktet som passer deres organisasjon. Vi veldig harde på å jobbe inn mot high user penetration, som det sies så pent. Altså en stor andel av deres virksomhetsansatte skal komme i gang med mobilflate raskest mulig og smidigst mulig. Og det hele dreier seg om å kunne få til det digitale mobile arbeidslivet. Dette trenger backing ofte fra både executives eller sponsorer i virksomheten, og også så det en viktig del av selve reisen. Vår visjon Make Work Mobile, og det har vi veldig mange eksempler på. Her noen av de få utvalgte kunder i Norden og globale som vi jobber tett med over mange år. And I will do this in the rest of the presentation in English. And as you see here, there's a lot of different customers. So we're absolutely sure that we got all the Nordic participants with us. A lot of these customers we are really proud to say we have been working tightly with over many years. DNB, for instance, for several countries, SAS for all the global offerings, and also other customers like Equinor and Volvo Cars. So really proud to work with both hardware delivery, consultancies, securities, applications, enterprise apps, and a lot of services tightly tied together with their wishes, with their needs. So the agenda for today's webinars are definitely back to basic. Why are we selling web meeting solutions like Zoom? We're going to give you a few background criteria around it. We're going to do and look into Gartner's, what they say about web meetings and web meeting solutions. And we're also, of course, going to summarize what you need and how you're able to get started. And for the main purpose for these meetings, of course, Mike Adams that you see in the background from the video that you have presenting. Hello, Mike. Thank you for being, from UK. And you're going to talk about how meeting solutions is based upon 2020. And I guess you're going to have a few comments about, the situations globally, everyone working from home, right?
Yes, we're going to go examples of that, sure.
Perfect, thank you. And we're going to summarize, of course, in the end, after what Mike had been presenting, doing Zoom prices, and also summarize, of course, you're able to do chatting all the way, and you're going to pick up a lot of those. But we do have a few questions that we already received from you guys when you accepted the invitation from Techstep. So we have a few questions already for Mike, ready for him in the end. Okay, great. So let's go.
Yeah, wonderful.
So let's look into it, Mike. Why did we choose Zoom? Okay, a lot of the customers, we have around 600,000 users using our services, every day. And a lot of those customers, the mobile customers, want better voice quality. They are not in the same operators. They are not in the same country. They need a better solutions, you know, to do the collaboration stuff. They want to record a video. They don't want to record it and, you know, then afterwards do a file share or transfer it via mail solutions or doing any, you know, transferring of the video to a server. They want it to be a part of the collaboration stuff. So a few years ago, a large customer of ours within transportation came to us and said, we got a lot of front-end workers. They are out there. They need a voice call directly, recording and doing videos, both showing what they are doing and showing what they are talking about. You know, they need to, you know, be part of the 2018 actually environment. So they need to share while they're on the move. And that was the whole situation. So today we're going to focus on this webinar, of course, for the home office and moving, you know, towards using from PC and Macs or, of course, tablets and so on. But from Techstep side, that was the reason why we chose Zoom, is actually using it from the mobile side. And as you see on the right side, Gartner is also saying the same. And there is a review within the customers, Gartner customers, partners. Actually, over 1,500 of these customers, of Gartner customers, partners, are saying Zoom is the best confidence, you know, giving the best offerings for the money, best buck for the money. And that's is ease of use is, first of all, that's really important. And one of the first thing that we really, you know, we were testing all these other ones that you have in that I have in front of me from Gartner. And the thing is that we really use a lot of times when we are really mobile is that we are starting on a PC or starting on a phone as just an ordinary phone call on a Zoom solution. And we log into the PC and you have a big screen and you sit there and discussing back and forth, and you need to go to a meeting and you're going to the car and, you know, traveling away, you know, right? And then you have to connect with 2 or 3 devices actually to get it going. Another solution is just block for the device. You're gonna disconnect all the connections. So we need the flexibility to get going, get exercise. I can take with me when Mike is doing it. I can, you know, go out and have a short stroll with my dog, you know, and get back and take over the presentation, or I can do the presentation from the iPhone itself. So first of all, for our side, there's a lot of what we call earlier field workers going to need a lot of new collaboration tools. And those guys are not called field workers anymore. They're called front workers, or as we define it, mobile workers, and they need digital assistance. So 10 points. I'm going to transfer this one to you afterwards. So just a story. Of course, we need voice quality and picture quality. We need it because we are transferring, I'm going from my mobile phone to different other access point, Wi-Fi access point, just on my office or in my home office. Or suddenly I'm, you know, moved from Wi-Fi to 4G, and I'm not gonna disconnect and connect back and forth. This is a really cross experience feature that you guys have built into Zoom. It's so easy, and often I'm having a lot of voice calls, you know, from cars, and a lot of the customers that we have, or a lot of the larger projects that we're running, they are experience a lot of disconnections. You guys in Zoom are really built in a lot of stuff into this solution. So I'm saying I'm living in the southern parts of Norway. I'm going to different meetings in Oslo. I'm using Zoom instead of having a voice call, because you guys are not disconnecting me from the place I'm in Kristiansand to Oslo. I'm not disconnected because I'm using Zoom on top of the data solutions instead. And if I'm using voice call, I'm having a lot of struggles getting in and out of the meetings. And also important for us is having the OS support. Using the browser, of course, connections with the Zoom without any plugins, with any, you know, particularly installations if you have the updated browser. And of course, we have to have all-in-one solutions, both the cloud storage, but also, as you guys have put into it now, the automatic subtitles actually working in the background, so you're able to search for the subtitles or part of the meeting, parts of the discussions that they have done and moved into subtitles. I guess you're gonna look into that one, Mike, afterwards. But of course, large group having both web meeting solutions, but also guys or the women's called by phones into these separate large group meetings. We see a lot of customers need for locals numbers in both Europe and in US, are the ones needing local numbers. So you actually to get good connections on ordinary fixed lines or phones if they have really poor data connections or large or having problems with the data connections on the mobile. So the point 5 is, of course, get rid of the cables in the meeting rooms. From our point of view, 2 years ago, we want to use the phones, the tablets, doing the presentation directly to the big screen, 65 inches large screen. We want to use the common equipment, both the consumer equipment that you have on the PC, on the meeting room itself. We don't have to have a lot of stuff built into the meeting room, and you have to have 15 or 10 to 15 minutes of every goddamn meeting trying to connect the audio or the screen from the mobile phone itself, not just the PC, because we see a lot of the customers just want to connect the PC or the Mac. But we got, say, in Techstep, making work mobile, we want to, of course, use our phones and our tablets. And all that cuts built in together because we are offering a lot of stuff into different verticals. Health is really huge for us. Education is huge for us. Municipalities is huge for us. Bank finance is the same, and also public sector. So we see a lot of the customers also want to use on-premise solutions or hybrid setups that are able to do a secure setup just for making internal collaborations. And that's also part of the way you install or set up the Zoom environment. And all these issues, of course, into what we see today is, of course, we want to distribute our Zoom connections directly into social media. Or we also want to use your Zoom solutions into other internal services as well. So that's it. And of course, there is a lot of guys and women out there, person out there using Thunberg, Cisco, Polycom solutions, Skype, and they're not able to talk to each other, right? So hopefully we would find, as we defined it actually 3 years ago, saying, well, how are we able to build in everything into one wish list? And this 10 bullets is my wish list. That was Techstep's wish list, and I can, stay checked on every one of these one. So that's easy. And Gartner say, you're going to move it to collaborations. 2025, there's a lot of remote work there going on within 2025. Well, it's already there, right? Everyone's there. Everyone's at the home office. And even Zoom is also located really nice in a magic quadrant within the solutions, meeting solutions analytics that you can look into afterwards. So for our trends and the focus that we see on our side is a lot of customers now wanting short-term actions. They need to get in touch of the home office, all the employees spread around all the Nordics and rest of the world by instant messaging, by collaborations, by doing meeting solutions, not just internally, but whatever it is, whatever solutions they have, they want to connect. They don't want to use the whole day, just to get in touch and build a meeting solutions. So that's why we, together with, of course, the security side. So this is part of the 7 bullets here, is part of the Gartner analytics. I'm just saying this is what's going to happen. Of course, we have the home office today, but there's going to be a lot of different OS, a lot of different ownerships on the device, but you need to collaborate wherever you are and to start working with these kind of tools. So, Mike, hand over to you.
Thank you very much,
right? You like the picture, yeah? In Norwegian as well, right?
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. Thank you very much. Cool. So good morning, everyone. Great to meet you all. So today we're going to be talking about happy remote teams. How can you work remotely in the best possible way, using the best possible tools, and still feel connected to your colleagues and your work, right? So just to introduce myself, I'm based in London. I've been in the tech industry for 25 years, working for Apple, HP, and lots of tech companies. And over the last 10 years of my career, I've been focusing only on video conferencing. So this is really my passion. I'm really passionate about connecting remote people on video. And so really, it's all about the meeting experience. Now, we spend so much time in meetings, whether you're talking to your colleagues, your customers, your suppliers, anyone you're working with. And of course, with the current situation, we all have to work from home, which means we have even more meetings, over virtual tools. And so that meeting experience is really at the heart of everything we do. And to be honest, for many people, that meeting experience is broken. We've all had a bad experience where you try to connect into a video meeting, the sound doesn't work, the video doesn't work, or you walk into a meeting room and there's too many cables, too many remote controls, and you've got image issues, sound issues. So we've all been there where that meeting experience is really broken. So how can we change that around and make it simpler? How can we have a perfect meeting experience? And this is really what it's about. And really the reality is there's already many tools on the market to connect people, whether it's over audio, over video, on webinars. And the problem is many of these tools are complicated to use, they're incompatible with each other, they're expensive, and many companies have already deployed 3 or 4 different tools. And the problem is the user is very confused. They don't know what tools they're supposed to use and how to connect all these things together. And so the solution to this problem is to have a universal tool in the middle, which connects to everything, regardless of what technology people are using. And Zoom is really there to do that. Zoom is that universal meeting experience, not just for video, but also for audio, for webinars, for chat, for every type of communication. And the beauty of this is a meeting organizer, when you schedule a Zoom meeting, you don't have to worry about what technology other people are using. They might be using a completely different technology than you are, but it doesn't matter. They can still join your Zoom meeting. So as a meeting organizer, it is truly a one-click experience in Outlook or Google Calendar on Mac or PC. So it is really that magic button. That's what you're looking for, the magic button to schedule all your meetings where you don't have to worry about technology anymore. Now, many customers are already using Microsoft Skype and Teams. And Zoom is really a perfect add-on to Skype or Teams to improve that video meeting experience. So Microsoft actually gave an award to Zoom for best integration partner into Microsoft Teams. So the idea is Zoom is really an enhancement, an add-on to Teams or Skype for Business as well. And the reality is Microsoft Skype for Business and Teams are great tools, are wonderful to chat with your colleagues or do a quick one-to-one video call. That works great. But as soon as you want to do a bigger meeting with, let's say, 10 people, your Monday morning meeting, or as soon as you want to do external meetings or connect to meeting rooms, that's where there's lots of limitations. And that's where Zoom comes in to really improve the video quality, improve the sound quality, allow you to show up to 49 people on your screen instead of just 4 people, allow you to connect to external people, etc. So there's many of these scenarios where it makes perfect sense to add Zoom to your Microsoft experience and really enhance that video meeting experience. So many Zoom customers are obviously Microsoft customers too. We love Microsoft. They're amazing. Now, really that rich meeting experience is all about seeing people's faces. When you're in a meeting with someone, the most important thing is to see their face. You need to see if they're paying attention to you, if they're smiling or angry or confused, if they're lying to you when they talk about their sales numbers. You need to know that. You need to see their face. And with traditional video conferencing tools, you can only show 3 or 4 people on your screen. With Zoom, you can show up to 49 people on your screen and have up to 1,000 people on video. So this is a game changer. Think about your Monday morning meeting with your sales team, where you've got, let's say, maybe 10 salespeople working remotely. As a sales manager, you want to make sure you see all 10 of their faces at the same time to make sure they're engaged and paying attention. If you only see 4 of them, it means 6 of them are actually falling asleep or not paying attention to you. So this is really critical. This is not a small detail. This is the fundamental meeting experience. And this is where Zoom really shines. Now, if you want to reach more than 1,000 people, we can also use that same Zoom tool to do webinars up to 50,000 people, where you can still ask questions on the chat and Q&A. So during this webinar now, I encourage you to click on the Q&A button if you have a question. We'll answer all the questions at the end. And then beyond that, Zoom can also stream to YouTube or Facebook Live or Workplace up to 1 billion people. Yes, I said 1 billion. So effectively, it is truly an enterprise scale experience where you have 1,000 people in a meeting, 50,000 people in a webinar, or 1 billion people on live stream. And every meeting can be recorded. And this is really important. So if you've missed an important meeting, you can watch it afterwards, or you can keep a library of all your recorded meetings. And this is really important for training purposes, for compliance reasons. So there's lots of different reasons why this makes perfect sense, right? And this is part of the Zoom experience. You don't have to pay extra for this. Now, if you record a meeting, Zoom also provides transcription. And that means every spoken word is automatically transcribed into text. And that means all your recorded meetings are searchable. You can type a keyword and see every time someone said that word and play back the video of the person saying it. So this is really important for law firms, for compliance, or it's important for hospitals to look for patient cases. It's important for education to look for recorded content. So there's many applications for this. And again, this is free of charge. We provide this to every paid Zoom customer. Now, once you record lots of meetings, you want to have a library of all your content. So Zoom integrates into many content management systems, such as Canvas, for example, which are literally similar to YouTube, but really for the enterprise space or education space to manage all your recordings. Now, a really interesting feature about Zoom is you can change your background as a virtual background. And this is really important when people work from home for privacy reasons. You don't want to show your kitchen, your bedroom, your private pictures. So you can actually change your background to any picture you want. So I can say I'm in the mountains of Japan in front of Mount Fuji, or I can be in an aquarium with those fishes behind me. So you can really make it engaging and really show an interesting environment when you're talking to customers. Or to make it more professional, just put your company logo behind you, right? So you can make it really corporate, pretend you're in a meeting room, or you can make it really more engaging and say you're in front of a Jurassic Park dinosaur. So effectively, there's lots of different ways you can use the virtual background feature. But we really love this as a way to make your meetings more engaging, right? Now, once you're in a meeting, the way to engage your audience is to use the polling feature. So effectively, you want to be able to have that polling feature where you can ask a question to all the people on the call or the webinar and really get their attention, ask them to answer a question. So I encourage you to use that feature in your meetings. And also what we call breakout rooms. These are virtual breakout rooms. Well, let's say you've got a session with a few, let's say 50 people, and then you want to have a 5-minute session where you split them up in small groups of 4 or 5 people. You can have a little chat with each other. And after 5 or 10 minutes, you can bring them back to the main meeting. So this virtual breakout room feature is really powerful. And many companies use this really for training purposes and for really engaging meetings. So this is, again, one of the unique features of Zoom is that virtual breakout feature. And people absolutely love this feature, I can tell you. Every time I meet someone who uses this feature, they tell me this is the game changer for them. They say this literally changed their life. So I really encourage you to explore this. Now, really for video conferencing to work, it has to be part of your day-to-day routine. It has to be part of the company culture that all the employees embrace video conferencing. So it shouldn't come from the CEO who tells all the employees they have to use video conferencing. It should come from the employees themselves who really embrace it and really enjoy using video conferencing. Now, the problem is, if you've ever used another video conferencing tool a couple of years ago, I'm sure most of you have had a very bad experience where the video didn't work very well, the video quality wasn't good, the sound quality wasn't good. Most people turn off their camera because it doesn't work very well. And that really prevents that video culture to work. So when people switch to Zoom, it works so much better that all of a sudden, everyone starts using video conferencing. So really, it changes the whole culture. So really, I encourage you for customers to users to try a better video meeting experience so they can embrace that new culture. Now, another thing, once the whole coronavirus situation calms down, at some point in the future, we're all going to go back to our offices. And when that happens, the big issue is, of course, meeting rooms, boardrooms, physical meeting rooms when people sit around the table. And I'm sure you've all had a bad experience when you sat around a table in a meeting room and you tried to share your presentation with a projector and it didn't work very well. You had the wrong cable, the wrong adapter, the wrong dongle, or the screen was turned off. Or we've all had a bad meeting experience. It happened to all of us, right? So how do you change that? How do you overcome that situation? How can Zoom help you there? So Zoom has really created a new experience both for remote people on their laptop and also a new experience for meeting rooms, for boardrooms, which we call Zoom Rooms. So Zoom Rooms is really a reinvention of the entire boardroom experience for physical boardrooms. And the idea here is really to combine all the elements of the room into a single experience. So it's not just about video conferencing. It's about audio, video, wireless presentation, room booking and scheduling, and also digital signage. So really the idea is to have all these elements as one single product. These are not 5 separate products. This is one product, Zoom Room. And the idea is you can deploy this to every type of meeting room, whether it's a small room for 2 or 3 people, a boardroom for 15 people, or an auditorium for 500 people. So the idea is really to have that consistent user experience in every single meeting room. And I can tell you, I've been in the video conferencing industry for more than 10 years. And this is a game changer. This is changing the entire meeting industry, the entire audiovisual industry for boardrooms and meeting rooms. Now, the game changer is really the user interface. So that's really when you walk into a boardroom, what is the user interface to control that room? How do you add a participant? How do you share your presentation? And we really designed the Zoom Room user interface to be CEO proof. That means even a CEO with 0 technical knowledge can walk into a boardroom, into a Zoom room, and launch your presentation with one single click, or join a meeting with one single click. So really that simplified user experience is the game changer. So once we all go back to our office at some point in the future, I encourage you to really experience that Zoom Room user interface. It is really amazing. Now, of course, when you work in Norway, many of your customers and suppliers are around the world. And it's really important to make sure that your experience works perfectly everywhere in the world. And so Zoom has really deployed massive data centers all over the world to make sure Zoom works even in countries who have really a low bandwidth or really slow internet connection, countries like India and China. And very often people try to do video conferencing with those countries with a different tool, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all for obviously bandwidth reasons. And then they try Zoom and it works perfectly. So there's really a dramatic difference. So you don't have to believe me. You have to try it for yourself. You really have to try it to see the difference. There's a massive difference. So I encourage you again to use Zoom to try meetings, not just within Norway, but with really every country. Now today, there's already 1 million companies using Zoom. So both small companies, medium-sized companies, and also large companies. So if you are looking for case studies and examples, there's loads of case studies on our websites. And some of these are really big enterprise customers. You know, Oracle have 125,000 employees on Zoom. HSBC have 290,000 employees on Zoom. Tesla has 15,000 employees on Zoom. So Elon Musk is a huge, huge Zoom fan. Uber have 2,000 Zoom rooms and 15,000 employees on Zoom, et cetera, et cetera. So there's many, many really interesting case studies, even in Europe as well. Now, really what sets Zoom apart is customer satisfaction. The reason Zoom works so well is our customers love the product because it's so reliable, it's so easy to use. And so really, if you ask me what is the biggest difference between Zoom and every other solution on the market, it really comes down to customer satisfaction. So I encourage you all to try Zoom. You need to try the solution for yourself so you can see that difference for yourself. You have to experience it, right? It makes no sense to look at an Excel spreadsheet comparing features of Zoom versus other solutions. That's useless. Really, what you need to do is to experience it for yourselves. And I hope today's webinar is part of that experience for you. So really, we want to help you have that perfect remote experience during this crisis today where you all have to work from home, but also when we go back to the office in a couple of weeks or month to have that perfect boardroom experience as well. So I'd like to share some examples of Zoom use cases which really have appeared since this coronavirus crisis where we all have to work from home. And these are really kind of amusing, but it really shows the power of having a really nice video conferencing tool when we're all in quarantine. So for example, there's now fitness classes on Zoom, Zumba classes or Zumba, where people are literally doing remote classes on Zoom, working out from home. And there's lots of companies offering this. There's martial arts now for kids, Zoom Jitsu, where kids are actually doing martial arts over Zoom. This is happening right now today. A yoga and meditation class on Zoom. One of our colleagues at Zoom in London is actually a yoga instructor. He does give us yoga class every single day on Zoom. And we love it. You know, it's really great when we're stuck working from home. And then Zoom happy hour or quarantine cocktail parties. There's loads of these where people are just drinking and chatting over Zoom instead of going to the local pub. And then even cooking classes are happening on Zoom now, quarantine cooking, brunch edition even. So this is happening. This was actually last week. And then pub quiz. You know, it's very common in the UK at least to go to the pub and do a quiz. It's all happening on Zoom right now. Just loads of pub quizzes on Zoom. Birthday parties. And obviously people use the funky virtual background behind them to make it a bit more amusing. When you're doing a birthday party, you can put any video you want behind you. And even entertainers selling their services to create birthday party experiences for children. So in this case, it was an actor, an actress dressed as Elsa in Frozen. And again, they're selling this as a service for families to hire entertainers on Zoom for their birthday party. Bedtime stories on Zoom. This is happening right now. This is actually a real case on the left. This happened literally, I think, 2 days ago. Then you got a violin class for kids on Zoom. So lots of music teachers are now using Zoom for their classes. Some families are now watching TV shows together on Zoom and just sharing their emotions and talking over the TV show while they're in a Zoom call, just sharing their screen. A cappella singing groups are now using Zoom to practice and rehearse. Weddings, this actually happened last week. We had 2 weddings on Zoom last week. I'm sure there was more. We just found out about 2 who shared their experiences with us. So these are real weddings. It's not a joke. Then family games, people are playing board games and family games on Zoom. This is happening. This is actually a real picture on the right from literally 2 days ago, one of our colleagues. Preschool kids are now being taught via Zoom. So preschool teachers are now literally looking at their kids over Zoom. People are doing scavenger hunts on Zoom where they're asking all their employees to run in their kitchen and grab a packet of rice or grab some milk or any kind of object. The quickest person who gets it gets a prize. Dating is happening on Zoom. So dating apps are now telling people to use Zoom. This one is from, I think, Hinge, a new dating app, which is telling people, please use Zoom to date. Symphony orchestras now rehearsing on Zoom. It's a really interesting use case that are appearing every single day. Book clubs, where people are encouraged to share their stories on books. And even magic shows on Zoom. So using special effects by playing videos as their virtual background. So you can really do some cool tricks on Zoom. And again, selling those services to entertain people. So really, those are a few examples of how Zoom is changing the world right now, especially in our current situation. So I hope this was useful. We got a few questions from the audience. So I'll ask.
Yes, we have, Mike. You saw it. Shall we do the Q&A first? Live transcription, how it's handling Norwegian language, right?
Yeah, so that's one question we got is now, is Zoom supporting Norwegian? So today, the Zoom user interface is not in Norwegian. I think we support 6 languages today, but Norwegian is not one of them. The transcription itself today is only in English for the time being. I don't have a specific roadmap as to when we're going to add other language to the transcription, but at some point in the future. Another question we have is Zoom Room compatible with Microsoft Teams? And the answer is yes. So when you deploy a Zoom Room, Zoom Rooms are universal meeting rooms. And that means in a Zoom room, you can not only join a Zoom meeting, of course, you can also join a Skype meeting, a Teams meeting, a WebEx meeting, a BlueJeans meeting, a GoToMeeting meeting, a Polycom meeting, a Cisco meeting. So effectively, Zoom rooms are truly universal meeting rooms. And that's really important, that if you're using Zoom internally, one of your customers or suppliers is using a different tool. If they send you a meeting invite, you can simply forward it to your Zoom room. And when you walk into your Zoom room with one touch, you can join. So that's really important, truly universal rooms. So another question we have from Alessia is how do we actually integrate into Teams and Skype? And the answer is very simple. From your Skype and Teams user interface, there's actually a little Zoom button in the user interface itself. So you can actually join a Zoom meeting or launch a Zoom meeting directly from the Skype or Teams user interface. But this is typically for an ad hoc meeting. What about scheduled meetings? And the way to schedule a meeting is very simple. In Outlook, you would install the Zoom add-on in Outlook. So every time you schedule a meeting in advance from Outlook, you would use the Zoom button instead of the Skype or Teams button. And that means the meeting is actually managed on the Zoom platform. But to actually join the meeting, when the scheduled meeting happens, you actually join it from your Skype or Teams user interface. So the user interface on your desktop is still Skype or Teams, but in the background, the meeting is managed on the Zoom platform. And that's what gives you a much higher video quality, much better sound quality, uses much less bandwidth, and allows you to show up to 49 people on your screen and have up to 1,000 people on video. So another question we get from Finn is, how is Zoom working with GDPR in a medical environment? So Zoom is 100% GDPR compliant. We have data centers in Europe. All the data is securely managed within Europe, following GDPR rules. So if you want to have our official GDPR statement, it's simply on zoom.us/GDPR on our website. We've got a full detailed GDPR statement about our compliance.
Yeah, now, Mark, we can add this one into the to the mail that they will receive after this meeting afterwards. We can include that one. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So we've got another question from Alessia asking, is it possible to have parallel sessions with multiple chat and call rooms? And the answer is yes, using the breakout room feature I mentioned. So within a meeting, you can have these virtual breakouts to have different sessions happening in parallel. And as a meeting host, you can send a message to all the breakout sessions so everyone can see if they need to answer a question or come back to the main room, right? So we've got another question here from Leah asking, what is the added benefit of working with Techstep? The biggest benefit, obviously, for us is that Techstep can deliver the entire solution, not just Zoom, but also hardware for Zoom rooms, installation services, and much more than just Zoom. So they can give you an end-to-end service. Whereas Zoom, as our company, we just deliver licenses and nothing else. Techstep is really the much bigger picture. So they can be your local Norwegian partner. So I definitely recommend to work with them. John,
even Swedish. Yeah, that's correct. Even Swedish, Mike. Yeah.
Yes, Swedish, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you see that one with the Zoom room about the hardware you will need for the Zoom room? Did you see that one in Q&A?
Yeah, absolutely. So Sachin is asking a question, which is, what kind of hardware do you need for a Zoom room? And the answer is, we have on our website recommended hardware for each type of meeting room, whether it's a small, medium, or large room. But more importantly, I would recommend you work with Techstep, and Techstep can literally come in and do a site survey, come and look at your meeting rooms, do some pictures of your room, measurements, and then give you a recommendation of what is the best hardware for each one of your meeting rooms, right? So effectively, if it's a small room, you'd put typically, a small device like maybe a Poly Studio X50 or maybe a Logitech Tap or one of these products. Whereas if it's a large room, like an auditorium, we need like ceiling microphones and wireless microphones and multiple cameras. Again, Techstep would give you a recommendation for the whole setup, right? So on our website, we do have recommended hardware we work with, but effectively, I would recommend to work with Techstep because they can really give you, I'd say, a more personalized recommendation based on each type of meeting room, right?
Yeah,
right.
I got a couple ones that got earlier. Mike, what about the whiteboard functionality, right? That's covered, right?
Yeah, so in terms of whiteboard functionality, that's a very good one. Every Zoom desktop client on Mac, PC, Android, iOS has a built-in whiteboarding feature where every participant can really annotate directly on a presentation. Now, if you're in a Zoom room, you can actually use a electronic whiteboard, like a physical touchscreen, right? And then from the Zoom room itself, you can annotate directly on a presentation. So that's one of the cool features of Zoom rooms in physical boardrooms is you can use any touchscreen display and transform it into a Zoom room for touch experience, where it actually is an interactive touch experience where you can annotate your presentation, but all remote participants, up to 1,000 remote participants, can also annotate with you. So it's a truly interactive experience for all the participants there, right? So you've got another question from, go ahead, John, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. One question about voting anonymously, if it's possible to do that. Can you do a comment on that one? Doing voting?
Yeah, voting. So as I mentioned in my presentation, Zoom has a built-in polling feature. So you can use polling as a voting mechanism where you can actually use, literally just fill it out in advance, a multiple answer questionnaire, and people use that to vote, absolutely. So it is actually a great mechanism to vote, the polling feature in Zoom. So Leah has another question. Leah asks lots of questions, which I love. How do you use interpreters for simultaneous interpretation, right? So effectively, Zoom is a built-in feature for simultaneous interpretation. That means that on a Zoom call, imagine you've got a Zoom call where the global call is, I don't know, 50 people or more, and you've got people who speak, 4 or 5 different languages. So Zoom is a feature specifically designed for simultaneous interpretation. So the way it works is you would have maybe 3 or 4 interpreters, real human beings, who are actually doing the interpretation. And in the Zoom user interface, every participant can actually choose which language track they want to listen to. So they want to listen to the original language track, or they want to listen to one of the interpreters track in Spanish, French, Italian, etc. So you can support as many interpreters as you want. And when the interpreters are on the call, they simply set themselves up as an interpreter so that people can then choose a language track. Now, Zoom does not provide the physical interpreters. These are human people. We don't provide that, right? There's a million companies out there who supply interpreters, right? All we supply is a technology to allow those interpreters to do their work, and then for each participant to choose which language track they want to listen to, right? Again, we do not provide, we don't sell the services of interpreters, right? Any company can provide that, right? Cool.
One question there also, Mike. Any known security issues regards to use of Zoom or server or client side?
Yeah,
so you're in space. Yeah,
absolutely. So Zoom is extremely secure. We use military grade encryption, which is AES 256-bit encryption. That means we have many government agencies using Zoom right now. We have many literally education institutions using Zoom. We have many banks, global banks using Zoom. I mentioned HSBC. So effectively, our security is really our #1 priority, and we're extremely secure. Now, if you go to our website, zoom.us/security, we've got a white paper about security. We've got loads of details about how Zoom is extremely secure. And effectively, it is probably one of the most secure collaboration tools on the market. For example, it's actually even more secure than Skype or Teams in the sense that as a meeting host, you can actually block who can enter a meeting. You can block it by IP address, you can block it by email domain, and these are things you can't even do on Skype or Teams. So Zoom is actually more secure as a meeting experience as well. And that's also one of the reasons why big banks and government agencies are actually mandating you have to use Zoom, because it is the most secure solution on the market right now. Cool.
I'm at the home office as you're here. You probably hear the dog is barking in the background. But anyhow, one question's about, there's coming up. Do you need to install clients to use Zoom?
Yeah, so as a remote participant, you can either join directly from your web browser, and then you don't have to install any clients. You can join from Safari, Chrome, Internet Explorer, Firefox. So you don't need to install any plugin at all. However, when you join a Zoom meeting via the web browser, your video quality will not be the best it can be. And this is not a limitation of Zoom, it's a limitation of web browsers. So because of web browser technology, if you join via the web browser, the quality will be good. It will not be a bad quality, it will be good and usable. It will not be the best quality. So to have the best video quality, the best audio quality, the best user interface, we do recommend that you install the Zoom plugin, right? And to install it literally takes 30 seconds. You don't need admin rights. So even if you're not an admin on your computer is locked down, you can still install the Zoom add-in, right? And so then you will have the better experience. So we do recommend that you install the Zoom app on your computer just to have a better experience. But it is not mandatory. So if for whatever reason you really don't want to install an app, you don't have to. You can join just from the web browser. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. And there is one about the breakout rooms. Are the participants able to do that themselves, being part of the breakout rooms themselves? Or do you need to wait for the host to do that?
So effectively, the meeting host has to organize the breakout rooms, and then the meeting host decides who goes into which breakout room. Either it can be assigned randomly, or the meeting host can manually move specific people into specific breakout rooms. So this is done by the moderator, the meeting host, right? So this is not done by the participants themselves. We have another question here from Leah. Can we make sure participation links are personal? Yeah, so effectively, the idea is, can we make sure that the meeting ID is not shared? It's literally personal. So when you schedule a Zoom meeting from Outlook or Google Calendar, you can choose to either have a randomly generated number for every single meeting, or to always have the same number for every meeting. So if you want extra security, I would recommend to always use a random generated meeting ID for every meeting. On top of that, by default, every meeting from Zoom requires a password to join the meeting. So that means if some random people just types your meeting ID, they will not be able to join if they don't have a password. Now you can disable that password if you want to, but by default, there's always a password, which is again, yet another security feature, right? And this is important to make sure you don't have random people joining a meeting. Another question from Alessia, is there a way to differentiate between different types of participants? So speakers, moderators, observers, etc. And the answer is yes. So as a meeting host, you can choose, if all the other people on the call are allowed to speak or not speak, share their content or not. So you have really granular controls as to what other participants can do in a meeting. Now, bear in mind, there's really two different types of meetings. You have what's called a Zoom meeting and a Zoom webinar. And these are two different types of meeting. In a Zoom meeting, everyone can see each other and everyone can hear each other, up to 1,000 people. In a webinar, you can only see the panelists and the hosts, but the other people cannot see each other, cannot hear each other, and we cannot see them. All they can do in a webinar setting is ask a question on the chat or on the Q&A, but people cannot see each other. So it's a bit of a different setup. In a webinar, it's more like a broadcast, right? Whereas in a meeting, it's more where a setup where everyone can see each other. Cool.
And what about the fees for the dial-in numbers, Mike?
So effectively, we offer free unlimited global audio conferencing with local numbers in more than 60 countries. Cool.
That's
sorry,
simple, right?
Someone just
That's
rang
really
my doorbell. 1 second.
Yeah, it's okay. Any other questions? That's great questions. While he's at the door, I can just try to summarize some of the elements. Mike, I'll just do a short. Yeah. So what I would suggest is start testing Zoom right away. Go into zoom.us/sign up, right? And you will recommend you, of course, some good hardware, of course, right? Headsets, right? Webcams, if it's troubleful or bad quality on the one you have on your PC or whatever it is, right? Start using it on a phone. Start using it on the tablets. Connect your sales representative to Techstep, call the number for hours, or go to our website, of course. We're doing campaigns on these ones today. Or you can even do the discrete ones, right? Mike, you know that I love my AirPods, right? So you got yeah. So start trying to use around on different clients. I will definitely, I will encourage you to do that. And especially you see that we're talking into each other's mouth, right? Mike and myself, you don't see the clipping on others' web meeting solutions. You're definitely purely communicating on these web meetings. So for the Zoom prices, I'll only give you a short ones. The free basic use is up to 40 minutes, perfect for testing. And there is different elements depending on how many users there are. Of course, depending on the price, and up to 100 users, up to 300 users, and from 500 users, both meetings and webinars. And it starts depending on the price here is in dollars, since we're pure cross Nordic. And there's also add-on prices for the Zoom rooms. So you're not able to have the phone with you, the physical account or the license with you. You should definitely put up the Zoom room itself. That's why I say to you, Mike, my CFO loves Zoom. It's always working. Getting into the room, it's purely connected directly. You don't have to touch a thing. both PC and both Macs, right? And there is also some, I guess you're gonna have a few comments on that one. There is a special educational price, the K-12 from kindergarten to secondary school concept. Can you do a comment on that one, Mike?
Yeah, so we basically, any school can either use the free version of Zoom, or there's also a paid version of Zoom specifically for education, right, with a reduced price. Now, with the free version of Zoom, normally, if you do a call with multiple people, so more than 2 people, up to 100 people, the call stops after 40 minutes on the free version, whereas on the paid version, of course, it's unlimited, right? Now, at the moment, because of the crisis we're in, Zoom is now removing that 40-minute limit on the free version for any primary or secondary school. So only primary and secondary schools, when they use the free version of Zoom, they don't have that 40-minute limit, right? Again, this is only primary and secondary schools, no one else, right? However, even for primary and secondary schools, I would still recommend they buy the paid version of Zoom because it has many, many more features compared to the free version. It's not just about the 40-minute limit. There's many other features, such as, for example, having a dashboard for the administrator to see all the people using the product, do some troubleshooting, also having a personalized joining URL with your own domain name, have your own brand on the invitations, using single sign-on, et cetera, et cetera. So there's many more advantages of really buying the paid version compared to the free version, right?
But it's perfect to start up, right?
But I would say the free version is good to just try the quality of Zoom. But if you want to try all the advanced features of Zoom, like the breakout rooms, like compatibility with Skype and Teams, etc., all these advanced features are not in the free version. So instead, I would recommend you contact Techstep, and Techstep with Zoom can set you up with a special trial of the paid version, where you do get to try all the advanced features. But that trial is not forever, it's only for 2 weeks, right? So for 2 weeks, you can try not the free version, but the paid version for free with all the advanced features. So I would recommend that, and that's really the best step. So to get that trial, you need to contact John at Techstep, right? And we can work together to set that up for you.
Perfect. I thought I had another slide, but I didn't. So the price is definitely summarized. There is really cool features on this thing I'm always using on my phone, and that's swiping to the left. No, sorry, to the right, and then use the mute button, right? Kind of push to talk feature. I love that, Mike.
Yeah, the safe driving feature. If you're in your car,
it is.
You can do video conferencing while you're driving, but there is a special car mode when you're driving, and the car mode is really that push to talk. So effectively, it's really removing video not to distract you, right? And Zoom also is compatible with CarPlay. So you've got a CarPlay and an iPhone, of course.
Yes.
Zoom integrates that natively in the CarPlay user interface. It's really nice. If you have a car and an iPhone and Zoom, you're good to go. You can join
Absolutely. I forgot that one.
Even while you're driving without being distracted, right? So stay safe.
That's perfect. Yes. And that's perfect. Better quality and fewer disconnections, right? That's the summary of that. Okay, thank you for the webinar. We're